Hello and welcome to episode 12 of the No Balls Cricket podcast. It's a very special episode for us because we've got, as you can see, our first ever guest appearance on the pod. That is Rob Moody. Most of you will know him as the Robelinda YouTube channel, full of cricket highlights. I think a lot of us as cricket fans would have spent hours watching the videos that he's collected. So yeah, glad to have you on, Rob.
Lovely to be here, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. Yeah,
our regulars, Sid, the bald guy, me, the guy with good hair.
And
Sid is outmatched here with two guys with really good hair.
this is true, but I'm still a better looking bald man than Prince William. Bold claims. But no, great to have you. And the usual banter. By the way, he was late again today. Rob, you must tell him this. He can't be late for a pod every time, right?
Well, it's like being late to walk out to bat. You know, you can't let one guy walk out and wait for the other guy in the middle, right?
All right. Of course, Rob has one of the largest archives of cricket videos anywhere in the world, and it's all on YouTube. But of course, a few contentious issues. But first, I want to start with something really fun. There are a few videos that you have that have absolutely brilliant names. Like, I don't know, was arrogant convicts thrashed by India or something like that.
I've seen arrogant convicts. I remember cheating Aussies. These are the two that stick out in my mind.
Yeah, there's some good ones. Pakistan thrash sandpaper heroes. What else we got? There's a whole bunch. They're all pretty funny.
Wait, just to confirm, you are still an Australia fan, though, right? Or
yeah, of course. But I don't. I'm not some crazy nationalistic fan like you see regularly on the internet in general. I've never really cared, so much. I mean, how much winning, do you need to see? I mean, I grew up in the era where we won everywhere. We won so many World Cups. You get, it's like, okay, well, we've done that. It's like when we beat England in '89. I thought, oh, that's great. Then we beat them again and again and again and again and again and again, and you just feel sorry for them. So it's you want to see competitive cricket. Most Aussies don't remember all the crazy thrashing of England and West Indies and South Africa, where there's just whitewashes everywhere. You don't want to see that. You want to actually see competitive cricket. So and that's what I think it's actually been quite competitive over the last few years. But but I don't go out of my way to, make a whole bunch of videos saying how great Australia is. Well, I can't now because they're crap at the moment,
but no, I mean, I see your point with the competitive cricket thing. I think if you look at, but now it's become like the big three are competitive and nobody else is.
And even then, it's like the big three normally are just competitive at home. Obviously, India beat Australia over the winter, but most of the time you have like the home sides dominating even amongst the big three.
Yeah, well, that's how it's been for quite a long time. South Africa have slipped a bit, obviously, but Australia, England, India. I mean, that's how it's shaped up over the last sort of 5 years, I guess. Maybe a bit longer. I don't see it ending, but unless someone comes up like New Zealand or something. But New Zealand historically have been pretty average away from home, worse than the top three for sure. And South Africa's not much better since guys like Graham Smith, Stain, everyone retired, Callis, Amla, De Villiers. I mean, that's a That's a lot of
Yeah, that's a
viewers.
lot.
So
That's a lot to lose in one
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
exactly.
that's a lot to lose. And most of those
Yeah.
guys were really good away from home, especially Graham Smith and Dale Steyn.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't expect anything to really change over the next few years. But then again, Australia's pretty pathetic away from home the last 3 years. I mean, we've won nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. I mean, just a random test here and there. But yeah, so really it's England, India by some stretch, I would have thought.
Well, the last Ashes series in England, I think, finished 2-2, right? With Australia retaining the Ashes, which I think, and that was a pretty competitive series. Obviously, you have the Ben Stokes Headingley game, but in general, it was a really back and forth series that with two sides that seemed almost like they were just flawed enough to be evenly matched.
Yeah, two average teams. I think Australia definitely, they could have won that, obviously, but they must have had some sort of South African food in their dressing room because they choked like a classic South African choke from the 90s. So that was pretty funny, but yeah, both teams were pretty average, and that's okay because both teams have great players in them, but as a team, there was lots of captaincy issues on both sides. Both Payne and Root, I think they're both pretty poor tactically. And as you saw in the winter, your winter, Rahane was ridiculously good tactically, and you saw the difference from the first test when Collie was captain. But Collie's not known as some amazing Mike Brealey type tactician or man manager. But yeah, nor did you expect that out of Rahane, and he pulled it off, which was awesome.
No, that was absolutely amazing. I believe you were actually on Fox doing the tea time shows during those days.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Just putting up random collections of funny things and just random stuff for all the test series. So that was pretty funny. And yeah, it was pretty cool actually getting the commentary team would ask me for certain things during the day's play, and I'd just quickly find it and send it on in. So that was pretty cool. Just it goes to show that I didn't think any of those guys cared about YouTube at all. Why would they? But turns out they all know the videos, and I'm thinking, no, geez, it's a bit embarrassing.
But honestly, how does that not to get all very standard journalistic on you, but how does that feel to know that people like, I don't know, Karaoke for Adam Gilchrist or all of these people who just know you as Rob Moody, the guy who has all our highlights available for everyone to see?
Yeah, well, it's kind of strange because it's not it does. I don't think about it at all. I mean, it's not real, it's not. It just seems like it's all this online thing, but doesn't have any impact on, your real life, So yeah, it was just strange, So yeah, hard to explain. But yeah, there's so many people in the universe. I mean, obviously people watch cricket on YouTube, but it seems to me that it's a bit out of control these days. There's obviously millions of cricket on YouTube. There's just heaps. Yeah. I mean, I expect at some point that my channel will be dwarfed by some, mega for some mega Indian channel that surely has to come at some point. I mean, and yeah, it'll just dwarf it into obscurity.
No, but they'll probably be blocked on copyright grounds.
Yeah, probably. Well, maybe it'll be Ravi Shastri's own channel. Maybe he'll make Shastri's World of Scotch and plus cricket highlights.
As everyone can see, the Ravi Shastri's reputation is preceding him everywhere.
Well, all I read about is, Shastri is not fat. It's just a Scotch case he's hiding under his shirt.
We've been told that beer belly has magical powers. So
And I think if you just see him in the dressing room, he quite often just looks drunk. Like you can't. Like...
That's pretty funny.
Is he as big a celebrity in India as he is in Australia as he is in India?
Well, the Aussies, like, I don't think so, but we sort of remember him from just being a really crap batsman in this country. Sort of aside from the double century in Sydney, you know, everyone loves that crazy one-day innings where he got 17 or 50 balls or 60 balls and then got himself ran out. It's like, what are you doing? Like, it's not a test match, mate. And, you know, but Gavaskar was on commentary, so maybe they were like communicating, you know, so you could sort of emulate the classic 36 not out of 50, 60 overs.
Oh, man. But okay, so when you were on Fox, did you actually dislike any of the commentators? Because my friend here has a problem with a few on that Fox list.
Hang on. Let's be fair. I'm a general Australia cricket hater. I think it starts off because, I mean, being an India fan in the 90s, we just kept losing to Australia whenever it mattered. When it came to the commentary team from this series, I think Sid had a lot more like specific hatred of people than I did.
Well, I think you'll find on any commentary team there's going to be some crap, but you know, here in Oz we get the dual telecast. So we get the Fox telecast, which is pay TV, and we get the Channel 7 telecast of free to air. So there's good guys on there and there's average guys on there. So on the Channel 7 one, you watch that pretty much just for Ricky Ponting's commentary because it's excellent, and he's doing the Mike Atherton role, you know, like he does on Sky, where it's just pure analytical commentary and right on the money too. Whereas you don't get that from Shane Warne.
No,
obviously.
No. I mean, Shane Warne basically begged them to bowl bouncers. That's all he did.
Yeah.
Shane Warne's, I think, cricket strategy is bowl bouncers and bowl leg spinners all the time.
Yeah, and you know, we grew tired of Channel 9's commentary right before the end. There was a few years towards the end where it was pretty much just like a boy's night at the pub, you know, and that's sort of what's happening on Fox a bit, you know, where they're trying. I get the feeling across the board though that some commentary teams try too hard, you know, and you know, like the older guys like Richie Benaud in particular, you know, you'd let the game, you know, be seen without the just useless banter that passes as commentary. And so Adam Gilchrist is not too bad, but if he's seated with Mark Waugh and Shane Warne, then you're not getting any great commentary out of anything there.
No, definitely not in that situation.
No. I did like listening to Gilchrist actually when he was outside of when he was normally, I think it was him and maybe Brett Lee or Mark Howard, and then Harsha Bhogle would call in. I think that was a decent team together.
Yeah, and Mike Hussey's not too bad, you know.
Yeah, Hussey's also pretty good.
Alan Border doesn't sway too much from, you know, actual cricket, but I get the feeling they with guys like Border, these past greats, you want to get more proper insight out of them because they know a lot, you know. I don't want to know what his favorite pizza is. I don't care. You know, I don't want to know what color undies he's got on. What I want to know is you know, if he was captaining right now on the field, you know, what would he be doing? You want actual insight into the game, and I feel the England commentators do a decent job of that, except for David Lloyd. Though I do like David Lloyd, but you know, he's there just for giggles, you know. But guys like Nasser Hussain do a really good job of really analyzing properly and really going nowhere near the the pub banter rubbish. You know, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, the other thing with the videos that you've put up is that, I mean, you get a really good sort of glimpse into the past, because, you know, there's stuff like Tony Gregg and his weather vane that I'd never even heard of before I saw the video on your channel.
Yeah, well, during the 80s, when the telecasts themselves were evolving from just the rubbish that they were in the 70s, Kerry Packer was pretty keen on just trying new things, and that one of those things, you know, like the stump cam and all that sort of stuff. But the Tony Gregg weather wall, which was just completely ridiculous, but pretty funny, because you're looking at this thing and you're going, we don't care about this. Like, where the wind is coming from? What, are you kidding, man? Like, but there was just all these gimmick style things, and you know, which culminated eventually with the 12th Man's recordings, where Billy Birmingham did the pitch report on the 12th Man, and had the instead of using the weather wall to test the moisture, he squeezed David Boone's jockstrap to see how much moisture would come out. And that was pretty funny. And I think it was after that they stopped using the weather wall.
Oh, that is absolutely amazing. I do remember he lost.
Of course,
the key.
I was going to say the key. Yeah, well,
yeah.
The key was funny because it was, the cracks were huge, and of course the 12th Man made reference to that. But then again, current generations don't know what the 12th Man is anymore.
No, of course not.
You know, but you know, obviously for us it was the most hilarious stuff ever. But the classic Tony Gregg line when he's doing the pitch report on one of the 12th Man albums, I think it was the 12th Man Again from '89, where he says, you know, the wind is coming from the north at 20 degrees and out of my horse at about 50. So something like that, and you thought, oh my God. Then you actually expected him to actually say that when you saw the pitch report in future matches. You thought, oh my God, it was pretty funny.
Oh, I mean, he was a very, very funny commentator. And I mean, the thing with Tony Gregg was that he did so many different countries. I mean, you don't see that anymore.
Yeah,
you don't get a person who's going to maybe you know, someone spends, like Mark Nicholas would do, which is spend the winter in Australia and then spend the English summer in England commentating on Channel 4, for example. You don't see that anymore.
No, well, it'd be good if Mark Nicholas could spend the whole year in the Venezuelan jungle, so we didn't have to hear him commentate. It was good when Tony Gregg would be just, you know, you'd turn on the TV for a new test series, and hey, Tony Gregg's on there from India or Sri Lanka, you know, somewhere random.
Yeah.
And how cool
Tony
was that?
Gregg was everywhere.
Yeah, because you sometimes saw really great series, but with a really average commentary team, you know, something really pathetic like Ramiz Raja and Sanath Jayasuriya, and
we got used to that in India in the last few years, because we had Sanjay Manjrekar on for a lot of games, and it's like he just sort of, it kills your experience watching on TV.
Well, I tell you what's funny. Over the last year, I've noticed that any video I've put up in the past of Akash Chopra, there's like 1,000 comments a day, and everyone is just hammering him on how terrible he is at cricket. And it was about 6 months ago that I put up this random video of Akash getting dropped in the slips or something, and it didn't have a funny title or anything. You know, it just said Akash Chopra gets dropped or something. Anyway, and someone commented, why don't you spruce this title up to what you usually do, and you know, you'll get millions of views. And I'm like, well, I don't care, but I did anyway. It's like 1 million views a week since. And it's just and then everyone is just saying, oh, I came here just for the comments, because people are brutal, and that's an insight I didn't know. I didn't know how much that, all the comments like, oh, this guy's trying to tell our team how to bat, yet, he shits himself facing Brett Lee, and so that's pretty funny.
There was another video that I saw that I wanted to, the one about, just put one up yesterday, I think, about Michael Clarke being his...
Yeah, because it was his 40th birthday, I think, yesterday. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. What was your sort of impression of Clarke as a captain? Because there was a sort of whole school of thought that he was too brash and sort of opposed the established order too much.
Yeah, I've always liked Michael Clarke. I think it's hard when certain players come in, after a certain era or generation, and clearly he was, when he came in, he was super young, but it was sort of the same when Ponting came in. He came in with big raps, killed it in junior cricket, and was, put into the test team, as quickly as they could. Did great, obviously against India straight away. But I didn't mind him as a captain, but there was he didn't have the strongest team for most of his captaincy. But as a batsman, I thought, fourth most hundreds for Australia. If that's a lot of hundreds. 28 Test hundreds is not like 15 or 16. It's a lot. 28's a lot, and heaps of them away from home as well. So, but I think the public's perception is probably a bit unfair. But most countries' fans are pretty harsh, on the players they don't like. There's lots of Aussies that like Michael Clarke. There's others that just think he's a gigantic flog, and you hear that sort of stuff all the time. But there's Indian fans that genuinely think that every time Tendulkar made 100, it was selfish and India lost, and it's clear, people say that, and it's obviously not the case. So, at some point, you make up your own mind what you think about those sort of players, But Clarke, I always thought he was excellent and underrated, and
Michael Clarke actually reminds me, because he had so many different controversial moments. The things like his dust up with Simon Katich, the whole homework row. So, and all of these are things that we read about. Obviously, we don't have there are no highlights of them. So, do you have maybe a few moments from cricket history where you just gee, I wish there was a TV there though, so that I could be, I had highlights of those, I could see those things again.
Well, yeah, that'd be great. I mean, one of the things that people generally ask for is when Viv Richards and Wasim Akram in '88 in the West Indies, which is obviously a series that there's little to no footage of, which is terrible. But, where they, Viv Richards says, hey, let's go. Out the back, after the match, because it was getting super heated, and, these days with all the TV cameras, you can't get away with that. But back then, there is no footage, so that'd be pretty cool. But there's enough autobiographies and cricketers' stories these days that go into detail about what happens in the dressing room, and the Clarke and Katich thing and everything, that you get a pretty accurate idea of how it actually went down. And that particular one, wasn't his greatest moment, but it's not exactly bad enough to hold it against him for the rest of his life. Whereas there's plenty of Indian fans who still think Rahul Dravid should be hung for declaring when Tendulkar was on 194. You know, it's like, get over it, people.
But I think that's
like Dravid and Sachin have gotten over it, but the rest of us
Yeah,
haven't.
right.
yeah. I mean, Sachin's now got COVID, so he's got nothing to get over.
Yeah, I saw that this morning. His whole family, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, just to put it on record, I think the only 100 that he made for himself was the last one, the 100th.
Yeah, well, that was pretty
Yeah.
obvious, obviously. But as if you're going to, you know, not, you know, give him a bit of room there. But yeah, I mean, 100 hundreds. I mean, yeah, and I think, you know, Kohli will pass it at some point, I think.
Kohli's gone a year without scoring 100, well, almost
Over a year, like
over a year and a half.
A year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
He's
But
on 70, so you do expect he'll get the next 30 at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, he will, and he's the only one that I think in the world has got any chance. I don't think there's anyone else.
Steve Smith, maybe?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it'll give someone like Babar Azam a couple more years just to get up into the 30s and 40s first, because you just, you know, Smith's gone on quite a while now at a pretty high level, so you'd expect that he would. I expect that he'll probably crack 50 Test hundreds, but in the other formats, he's not exactly scoring that many hundreds, and he tries too hard in 2020 cricket. You know, it just looks stupid. You know, and in one-day cricket, he's better, obviously, but nowhere near as good as Kohli. Obviously, you know, I mean, he's the greatest one-day batsman ever, by miles, I think. But yeah, the numbers speak for themselves, right?
Yeah, yeah, the numbers
on numbers alone.
Yeah.
Without even seeing him back, you look at those numbers, and it's actually insane, you know, to have those sort of figures. Yeah, so I think he's the only one who'll crack the 100, and he'll probably go past it too, probably 120. I'm expecting.
Yeah, I think he's what, 32, 33 years old, so you expect he's got like a good 6 or 7 years left. The way athletes last longer these days. Yeah.
Oh, of course. I mean, David Boone retired when he was 33. You know, you know, guys. You know, back then, you know, there wasn't a lot of guys in the 80s and 90s that played on past sort of 34. You know, you had this small group in the very early 90s, like Viv Richards, Desmond Haynes, Gordon Greenidge, Alan Border, Imran Khan, Graham Gooch, of the really good players. Then you had like Mike Gadding underneath that, guys who did play on, but the majority of guys retired after sort of a 10-year career. But these days, with the amount of money and the amount of formats and the emphasis on fitness, there's not many players you would say are significantly overweight. You know, and everyone talks about Rohit Sharma, I know, but you know, Cornwall, obviously in the West Indies, is just a big lump of a dude. I mean, he's not losing that weight anytime soon. But yeah, so yeah, players will last longer if they want to, and if they've got the fitness to see them through. I mean, people say just yesterday, gee, why didn't Michael Clarke play for longer? Well, it was his back, you know, just gave out in the end, you know. Yeah. So, you know, and people have short memories with those sort of injuries, you know. You know, players can't play forever, but and generally though, those sort of injuries are known well before they're a real problem. So Clarke's had back injuries for 10 years, you know, prior to that. So, you know, it's just one of those things. Same with Mike Atherton. He had back problems right from the early 90s. So it was never going to, you know, be a 20-year career. So whereas someone like Kohli, you know, what is he on the vegan diet now? So he looks fit and healthy, you know.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I can't see any reason why him and say Smith and Babar Azam can't play for 10 more years. Why not?
But I also think that Babar Azam probably doesn't play enough. I think
Yeah, I
Pakistan
could
don't
see
play
that.
that many games.
No, well, I'm sure if they beat Australia and England, and if they ever played India, they'd get more games. But it doesn't help when they come to Australia and get thrashed 3-0 and everything every time they come in.
That's true. Yeah.
Was it been 20?
Yeah, they're competitive in England, but in Australia they've just not.
No.
I don't think they've ever come close to winning a series.
No, I mean they've only won one test here, since 1995, and one test ever since 2010. Yeah, in England. Yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah.
Oh right, yeah, that series against Australia and England. I completely forgot about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is a heavily forgotten series, but probably only known for Steve Smith and Tim Payne making their debut.
And Mohammad Amir.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah. Speaking of Pakistan, though, one of my favorite videos that you have on is there's a compilation of runouts of Inzamam. That's what I watch to go to sleep every night.
Everyone loves the Inzi run-out video. Classic. It actually got terminated by the ICC twice in its existence.
Oh, wow.
And then it magically came back again twice. I'm not sure why, but it happens regularly. But yeah, there's it's a pretty funny video.
It's a pretty funny video.
I mean, yeah. In fact, speaking of incidents which you wish you had video on, been trying for years to get the video of where the spectator throws a potato at him. I mean, that would be classic. Similarly, there's an incident in Australia in the late 90s where Australia-South Africa one-day game where a spectator at the SCG throws a chicken at Pat Simcox. Not a live chicken, a roasted chicken. And I'm trying to get that because, I'm not sure what he may have done, but why would you go to the effort of buying the roast chicken, take it to the SCG, assuming that's going to be your, meals for the day, and throwing it at the guy on the field?
Oh my
That's
God.
just dumb. I mean, a single potato, who cares? But a whole chicken?
That just seems like a lot of wasted effort.
It's a lot of effort.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you guys know this, but if you watch those old Sharjah games between India and Pakistan, there was this one Pakistani fan who used to actually bring like a live chicken to the game. I wonder if you can find that. I mean, I remember watching that as a kid growing up and watching those Sharjah games, and this guy would
Yeah, well, there's two incidents that were famous here in Australia in the 80s. One was the guy that brought the pig to the cricket and wrote both of them on it.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty funny. Yeah. I think that was 82, 83 season. And the season before, where someone brought a duck to the cricket and chucked it out onto the field when Greg Chappell walked out because he was going through his 7 ducks in a row. And that footage is awesome because there's this duck just quacking away at the MCG. And but it worked because Greg Chappell didn't get a duck. So, but not sure what happened to the duck, but it wasn't as funny as the police officer trying to wrestle the pig, that's just squirming out of his hands around the Gabba. That's pretty funny.
Oh. Oh, those are some absolutely hilarious memories. Yeah.
I think the other thing we really wanted to ask you about, we saw a tweet from you recently where you said that your son wants to be a YouTuber and like the modern version of the YouTuber rather than your version of collecting highlights. So what does he have going on those lines?
Well, I tell him regularly, he'll say, "Dad, I've just got 2 more subscribers." And I'm like, "So what do you have? 2?" And then I think he's got about 100 now. So, I often say, "Oh, you'll probably, reach me by the year 4000 at this rate." But keep going, son. Yeah, but you know, he's grown up in that. He's almost 14, so he's grown up with YouTube. You know, literally.
Yeah.
I mean, when he was 1 year old, we would watch videos of rubbish trucks emptying rubbish from around the world on YouTube, because that was the highlight of the week, was the rubbish truck coming and emptying the bin outside your house. And randomly I found a video from Scandinavia or something once, and then I realized that even back in 2008 you could watch a rubbish truck emptying rubbish from anywhere in the world. And
oh my God,
that was the first stuff I looked up on YouTube, was rubbish trucks. But yeah, you know, you can imagine a kid growing up in that era. They've gone through the whole meme era and all this sort of stuff, but kids' humor these days is abysmal. Like, it's not even funny. It's just dumb. So, and I don't understand it, but that's okay. But at least he still thinks the things that I think are funny are still funny, but the things that him and his friends think are funny are terrible. So his videos are atrocious. And, you know, but then he says, well, at least my channel's got the possibility to make money, whereas yours is just a waste of time.
Well, we don't think
Fine.
so.
Fine.
It's
I'll
definitely
skip
not a
your
waste
dinner.
of time for us. Oh yes. So
Yeah.
your son thinks he's gonna make more money out of YouTube than you are?
Yeah, and he probably will. I mean, it's you know, if he makes 1 cent, he'll do a bit better than his dad. So, you know, he's got every possibility. Yeah, I said to him that he should put a video up saying that, you know, my goal is to make more money than my dad, you know, and see if that actually gets him ad revenue. And I said, well, if you do that, I get 50%. So we'll see.
But I mean, YouTube has completely changed the way we watch highlights of cricket. And I mean, you know, you can literally watch it from anywhere in the world. Like, I'm sitting in England, I don't have access to a TV. And I wanted to watch the highlights of the West Indies Sri Lanka series, and I could just go to YouTube and, you know, do it.
Yeah, it's
even
great.
for,
I mean,
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, how good is it that the West Indies Sri Lanka series is on YouTube?
Yeah,
like live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great.
I mean, I think they kind of have to. They kind of have to, the West Indies Cricket Board, the way they are.
Well, yeah, I can't imagine many broadcasters want to pay a lot of money to have that series being shown, but yeah, it's great. And they put up highlights of each day's play.
Yeah,
you know, they've really stepped up their game, the West Indies Cricket Board, and even though they have to, as opposed to BCCI.
Yeah,
but that's really great. I mean, that's using it as using the technology and the tools available to your advantage. You know, and yeah, it's unlikely to happen. I mean, New Zealand tried to do it, I think, last season, but for a bit, maybe I think it was one of the one days or the 2020 games they put on YouTube. But that's right. I saw ICC shut down the copyrighted the video. New Zealand Cricket Board had their own video copyrighted by the ICC. You can't make this crap up. So I thought that was absolutely hilarious. I thought, oh my God. So is everyone working together or not? Because it's just a shambles. That's pretty funny. I thought, what hope have idiots like me got when an actual verified cricket board can't even upload their own match?
It's still better for them to do it themselves and upload the actual game. But then you have cricket boards like, you know, England that are sort of hiding behind a paywall or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks.
The BCCI is actually the interesting one because they just like, I think you probably know this better than we do, but the way they like guard the rights of highlights, and I think they have like a crazy archive of videos that just a lot of people have never really officially seen. I
Yeah,
was
well,
reading. Sorry, I'll just finish this and I'll let you go on. But I was reading because obviously last month was the anniversary of that famous series between Australia and India in 2001, when that epic series that a lot of people think is the best ever.
Never heard of it.
And I just saw this guy on Twitter, like he a fairly like decently known cricket writer in India, who's like, I have this entire pitch ready for doing a series about doing a Netflix series or some sort of retrospective based on that series, but I can't because the BCCI is just never gonna okay it, because they will never let you use the videos that they have from it.
Yeah, and I've got obviously a stupidly big amount of footage from over the decades. I mean, I'm just sitting on it. I can't do anything with it. I mean, I've got every ball of that series. Can't do anything with it, But and then think, okay, how many people in the world would have recorded that whole series at the time? I don't know. Some people must have. I mean, I did, and I'm an idiot, and it was easy for me. You just chuck a video in and press record. But yeah, they've got it all. So at some point you go, well, what's the point? Like, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Could you imagine if I put up all those DVDs of the whole series on eBay and said, here you go, India, Australia, 2001. At what point does that become worth so much money that they just put it out themselves?
This could be a very interesting experiment if you're ever tempted to try this.
I thought about it earlier this year, when it was the 20th anniversary of the series. Not from a financial point of view, but from a financially gain point of view, but just to see what would actually happen.
Yeah.
And to try and make something happen. There's been times in the past where, bootleg things have been for sale on eBay and wherever else, and it's forced someone to pull the finger out of their ass and actually make something commercially available for everyone. But cricket boards don't release entire series ball by ball. They just release crappy highlights. And that DVD they brought out from that series is just horrendous. The worst highlights package. It's like Ravi Shastri made it. Good on Ravi.
Oh my God. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing how obtuse these people are to like letting fans sort of enjoy the experience.
Yeah. I think the BCCI is especially I think a lot of people there are just stuck in a different age. And I think I would expect it to change the more, I feel like the more sort of modern age people get into administration. And that's probably true everywhere. I think when people our age are in charge effectively, do you think that mindset would change?
I don't know. I hope so, but I can't see anything happening anytime soon. Probably not in my lifetime. Can't see it happening.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but that's the way the world is, I guess.
Yeah. I've actually only ever watched that series thanks to bootleg YouTube videos, because I used to live in the US and I couldn't watch it live. The only reason I have any memory of that series is because someone has uploaded and the BCCI or ICC hasn't raised a flag to those videos.
Yeah, I mean, I could upload longer footage from that series, but I've already had enough warnings and termination, so just leave it alone. Just leave it alone.
Yeah. All right. Do you have anything more?
No, I think we had I think the most planned episode we've had, where we've actually we got together. We had two different conversations. Hey, Rob's on. What are we gonna ask him? And I think we have actually managed to cover all of it, though.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. And we
Yeah.
also got Deva to come in late as usual.
Some things I had to say.
Hey, I set my alarm for this morning to make sure I didn't sleep in.
I actually did worry if we had you too early, but then it was just, it would have been either too early for you or too
It would have been
late
too
for
late for
Sid.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always the case. I mean, this is usually a time where I do this sort of thing because it's usually something to do with either England or India or something, or America. So usually it's like 9:30 or much later. So like in 10 hours time or something. So where it's the opposite, where it's early for you guys and late for me. But that's how it goes.
Yeah.
So at least we get to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've had loads of fun. This has been spending the last hour. It's like an extension of what we do all the time, but just with like someone else who we've like would never have imagined we'd get to interact with, and it's just been a great fun hour of just shooting the breeze and reminiscing about everything we like about cricket.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah,
just what I like to do.
It's been excellent. We have a No Balls Cricket Award to Rob for being the first person to be interviewed on this podcast.
Yeah, first ever interview. I don't know how normally we give this award for like really stupid moments that have happened in cricket in that past week. So there's no physical thing that we can present to you. So I wouldn't keep an eye out on the mail, but yes, No Balls Cricket Awards.
Well, thank you. My pleasure.
It's been absolutely wonderful, Rob. On that note, it is time to end. Hope you guys enjoyed the interview.
Thanks for joining us, Rob.
Yeah. Lots of fun.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right. Bye, guys.
Have a good day.